Welcome back to another Stand on Guard. We will be joining Justin Trudeau live from Halifax as soon as he has the courage to mount that stage. Otherwise, this is all about Trudeau ruling by decree. Trudeau, the dictator. And we are living in a dictatorship. More on that when we come back.
So we are in a very precarious position in this country. We need political change, but we also need the resolve to resist.
You've been doing such a great job of hitting that like button lately. Thank you so much. Give us a thumbs up, like the station early in the broadcast. And like we've been doing for the last week or so, we're beating YouTube censorship more often than we're not. Thank you so much for being there for me during some difficult days. And your comments are so appreciated. I just love the fact you reach out and you tell me I'm appreciated and the work I'm doing is appreciated. It means a lot. And your support in any other way means a lot. So we will be joining Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. He's in Halifax at the Liberal Cabinet retreat. Cabinet, not the caucus. Doesn't want the whole caucus there. There's some talk about the whole caucus possibly joining via Zoom on the last day, but I don't think Trudeau wants to talk to the caucus. He doesn't mind keeping it to the cabinet. That's okay. But get those backbenchers in, those malcontents in the party, in the caucus, doesn't want to hear from them. So when Justin Trudeau comes out on the stage, we will be joining him. Well, we'll talk about a couple of other things in the meantime, because I think it's so important. We keep the lights on in this country, and that is what I'm trying to do. See, Sean Fraser unveiled a housing program, and we'll see more of that later during this retreat. You know what it is? It's called Stalinism. It's I have never heard anything like it from a supposedly free enterprise economy, as Canada is supposed to still be. So Sean Fraser announced yesterday they're going to lease federal land to developers for about a dollar for 99-year leases. Sounds like Hong Kong to me. And that didn't end up too well, did it? So they're going to lease government land to private contractors, private builders to build houses. And they have to guarantee, though, that it's going to be affordable. That's the first problem with it. How can a builder, before the building is actually finished, guarantee at any time that it's going to be affordable for ordinary Canadians, or that it's going to be constituted or defined as affordable housing? This is the insanity that rules the Trudeau government. This is government by decree. There's an excellent film from the 1980s with Christopher Plummer and James Mason as Watson. Plummer playing Sherlock Holmes, called Murder by Decree. And it's about a crazy theory about Jack the Ripper. But I always love the title, Murder by Decree. We have government by decree today. And this is how Trudeau is governing. He governs exactly by decree. And it's a dictatorship. And we'll get into the rail strike here in a minute. But it's absolutely insane what he's doing with the rail strike. And I think I've got just enough time to talk about free speech before we get to this. This is a fascinating incident. A woman near Wasaga Beach, and I know all about Wasaga Beach. I used to be the editor of the Penetang Citizen. That's how I started my journalism career way back when. And Wasaga Beach was just down the road. And of course, Wasaga Beach is well known for its annual Elvis Festival. Yes, I know about the Elvis Festival. And it's a pretty happening little town in the summer. But apparently some people have been defecating on the beach. So let's just watch this short little clip here before Trudeau gets up.
Wasaga Beach incident. TikToker gets a door knocker from police.
This These people right here, you're gross. She's seen that they were using this as a washroom. Pooping on beaches seems to be very common. You guys need to know what you're running into when you come to Wasaga Beach. And it's not locals doing it. It is people coming from out of town, and it is immigrants that think it's okay to dig a hole, pop a squat, and bury their poop. Where kids play in the sand.
And I just want to point out how that's like just such a basic take that most of the country would agree with. And we're going to see she's getting like picked on for this.
For saying that, this woman named Natasha, who on TikTok goes by Natty Lynn, received a visit from an OPP officer.
There is somebody called in about somebody posting things on TikTok about East Indians defecating on the beach.
Whoa, slow down, lots to unpack there. First of all, so there already is anonymous tattletaling that's happening. That a police is going to show up to your door because you said something about immigrants. What? Way more people should be outraged by this. Because, you know, I'll talk to people about Bill C-63 and how terrible it is, and they'll agree, but they'll say, oh, that's too absurd. That's not going to pass. Stuff like this is already happening?
Yeah. And thank you for that YouTuber who's, we will have his information in the description. It's fantastic that other people are becoming attuned to this. And I want to apologize to all of my viewers if you had any misconception that I was suggesting you are not interested in Bill C-63, the online harms bill. I know you are. It was my perception when I first started talking about it that there were some glassy-eyed expressions out there. But that, of course, was due to YouTube censorship, which is absolutely killing the shows I put out exclusively devoted to Bill C-63. And I put a number of them out. Comprehensive documentaries about C-63, what it means for you and I, why it's a danger to the country, all about the hate crimes component and the thought speech component that is going to make this the most dangerous piece of anti-free speech legislation in the history of Canada. So I've talked about that at length, and I apologize if I yesterday indicated in any way that all you folks out there are not interested in Bill C-63. I know you are, and more people on YouTube are realizing the threat this is to democracy, to our basic freedoms in this country. And I think it's absolutely horrifying what's going on with this. So I want to talk about another, and I might have to get back to that actually, but we're just waiting on Justin, as we always are, aren't we? Get this. Saw this morning. Now, we all know the COVID vaccine was safe and effective, right? That's what Big Pharma told us. That's what the government of Justin Trudeau told us. That's what every government in the world told us. It was safe and effective. So that's the line. But here we go. There's a lung cancer vaccine has been developed, powered by COVID mRNA technology. Now, I invite you to have a look at why mRNA in your body might not be the best idea. And I'm sure all of you who are viewing this know exactly why that is. It is a very, very questionable idea. But here we go again. We've got a what? We've got a vaccine for lung cancer powered by COVID mRNA technology. I just wonder sometimes who's minding the store out there. Now we're still waiting for Justin to make the stage. I think I've got time. If he gets on stage, I will interrupt my clip here, and we'll get back to it later. But this is what the gist of my comments in the description and on the thumbnail today about dictatorship. We have a government by decree. How did Justin Trudeau resolve the rail strike? By decree. He decided that he was going to just finish it end it through the Industrial Labor Relations Board, a government body. Don't tell me it's independent. We didn't even have a vote in the House of Commons on it. So that meant Jagmeet Singh could go on at length and grandstand about, here, I better take this off of here. Jagmeet Singh could grandstand about how he was going to fight Justin Trudeau on the rail strike. He wasn't going to order those workers back to work. He wasn't going to side with the railways, with the CPR and the CNR. It's actually, what is it now? CPR Kansas West, I think. Which I must confess, I had no idea of the name change until I started covering this rail strike. But let's watch this clip, and you can see this is all because the Liberals don't want to use the House of Commons to vote for things or even consult the public. Now, I know it's a bad thing to have a rail strike right now. I know it's going to hurt farmers. The point is, Justin Trudeau dealt with this not democratically, but by decree. And as I said, it's like free speech. The enemies of free speech will always attack the weakest link. Justin Trudeau is demonstrating he doesn't need the support of Parliament. He doesn't need to go to Canadians. He doesn't need to go to your representatives. He just rules by decree. And if he can do this for a rail strike, he can do this for other things. That's the point I'm trying to make. It's not just going to be limited to rail strikes, which most Canadians, I'm sure, are going to say, good for Justin for doing this. How about the next time Justin says we have to rule by decree because this is an emergency? Pandemic? Another freedom convoy? That's what he did with the freedom convoy. He ruled by decree. He invoked the Emergencies Act because he said, we have an emergency here. I say so. I'm going to solve it by decree. Let's watch this clip. And like I say, if we finally have some action here, I'm going to the stage. Nothing happening. Nothing happening. So we'll be... I'm going to go with my clips here.
Liberals feel they have the rail issue under control with the trains running right now. Here's what they have to say about it.
This would have been an act of economic self-sabotage, which is what the Deputy Prime Minister called it. And obviously, we're very relieved that that has been avoided.
Now, tomorrow, Sarah, they might run into a bit of a PR problem. The head of Teamsters here in Canada, has said he's coming to Halifax. He's encouraging other Teamsters who might be in the area to join him for picketing the Liberal cabinet meeting. We'll have to see, Sarah, what impact, if any, that has on the talks tomorrow.
Will be interesting. And Mackenzie, the railway dispute is just one of a number of challenges that are hanging over the Liberals, which could potentially cloud their political fortunes. What other key issues do we expect to be addressed at this retreat?
Well, the Liberals are dealing with both political and policy issues here. Let's start with the policy, Sarah. The Liberals announcing a small new housing measure earlier today.
The federal government is the largest landowner in the country.
And the Liberals are looking to leverage that by leasing out 56 federally owned plots of land to build new housing.
Long-term leases of up to 99 years for as little as $1 in exchange for a commitment from builders that they're going to make homes available at prices that low-income families can afford and that middle-class families can afford.
In total, the government estimates 25,000 units can be built through this program, but it's a drop in the ocean compared to the 3.5 million additional housing units needed by 2030 that the Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation says are required to restore affordability. And that is the crux of the political problem the government faces on housing and the economy overall. The solutions that they're providing, which experts usually like, will take years to impact the average Canadian. Time the Liberals and Justin Trudeau do not have, down 20 points in the polls to the Conservatives with nearly a year before an election.
It remains to be seen whether the public wishes to listen to the messenger that is the Prime Minister, because people have lots of predefined views about him.
The Prime Minister and the rest of Cabinet will be hearing from experts on housing and the economy, as well as Canada-U.S. relations. And there was a surprise last-second attendee today here, Sarah. Jake Sullivan, Joe Biden's national security advisor, flying to Halifax. Here's what he said he discussed with Cabinet.
So this isn't about me coming up here for a particular specific ask or on a single issue. It's a mark of the seriousness with which we take staying on the same page with our Canadian counterparts at all levels.
And tomorrow we'll likely hear from Justin Trudeau at a press conference, the first time he'll take questions from reporters in 2 weeks.
And we are still waiting for that press conference to start. So I'm going to have to, in the old days of live television, they used to say, when you had too much time at the end of the show because you underestimated how long the acts were going to take, they used to call that stretch. Stretch, because the show has got 3 more minutes and we can't put ads in for 3 minutes. You've got to stretch that last act until the until the clock hits 9 o'clock or the next hour or whatever it is. So we're going to stay online here. We're going to stay on, shall we say, in this broadcast for as long as I have to, because I want to watch this news conference live. We've been watching this same picture of these 6 Canadian flags now for about 45 minutes, exactly 45 minutes. So I don't know if Trudeau's coming up, but I can certainly keep on yakking if I have to, and I think that's what I'll have to do. There's a couple things I did want to discuss with you all, and that's, we are facing, a number of threats in this country, and free speech, of course, is probably paramount amongst them. And it's so nice that people are finally waking up to that. And I tell you, Justin Trudeau is a bit of a coward, and he hasn't spoken to the media in a real news conference in weeks. There was, of course, that fairly bizarre encounter with countersigned news with Kian Bext, which I covered, and I never did get around to that interview with Kian because we were going to one day and we both got our wires crossed, and he wasn't available for the rest of the week. So that was very unfortunate. But I'm just going to make sure I'm not missing anything on here. No, we are not, and it is. We are still waiting for Justin to show up here. But here's what we should do. Why don't we look at some of the comments you folks are posting right now? Because I see we've got plenty of comments. I'm going to go through these. I have to put my glasses on. But I see we're getting lots of comments this morning from all of you folks. From Tracy, this insanity is exposing what needs to be torn down. Well, I'm not sure what you're referring to insanity, because where do you begin with insanity in this country? I mean, we have so much insanity that is ruling this country. It's impossible to know where it begins. Here, I'm gonna post these as we go here. Trudeau going to speak on CPAC from Halifax. Well, he's also on Global, which is where I have it right now. And hopefully Global hasn't frozen on me. Yeah, and as I mentioned to everybody, we will be covering. I have a horrible feeling that you're going to wait till 9 o'clock now. Trudeau stealing conservatives' ideas. Earl Craft. Yeah, Earl, you were always a great follower on our daily House of Commons question periods. So this is as close as we've gotten to the live question period. Trudeau will answer more questions at a news conference, even though he does that horribly, than he does during question period. Have you ever noticed in question period, he's got like 3 pat responses, and all of the cabinet ministers have these 3 pat responses. And that is what? Climate change? They move the subject, the conversation to climate change, saying everybody in the Conservative Party are climate deniers, and they don't realize that the world is on fire right now. All of these forest fires, even though there weren't many at the time when they mentioned it, are all a result of climate change and not arson. And they also loved to quote the same line about 8 out of 10 Canadians are receiving more back in a so-called carbon rebate than they are in taxes being taken from them, which of course is balderdash. That was absolute nonsense. Good morning from Tabor, Alberta. Good morning to you too. What does Fancy Socks have in store for us now? That's a very good question. And it's interesting because hasn't Trudeau gone out of his way to be ridiculed? I mean, it's not just the silly socks he wears. And he wears these at international events, and that's what makes this all the more absurd. He will go to an international event and wear these silly, gaudy socks, and nobody is even supposed to consider this the least bit unusual. But he's been doing this for so long. Isn't that what self-appointed kings do? Yes. Trudeau is a self-appointed king. There's a biography about Trudeau out on the shelves right now called The Prince. When I first saw it, I thought, oh, it's Machiavelli's writing again. But no, it's about Justin Trudeau. And I thought, what a strange title, because obviously some Canadians really think we live in a monarchy that began with Pierre Trudeau, and that Justin Trudeau is like the successor to the throne. Morning from British Columbia. I pity you folks in British Columbia. I am born and bred in Comox, BC. My father was in the Royal Canadian Air Force. Comox was the base he was at when I was born. I came back in uniform in the Air Force as a public affairs officer at Comox. Was there for 6 wonderful years in my hometown, probably the best years of my life. Proud to serve in those days. I'm not sure I could wear the uniform today, at least with the same amount of pride. The military has become so skewed, so abused, so used by the government that I'm not sure if there's a role for normal people to play anymore, or if you just can't stand living under the delusion that they insist you live under. I think it would be highly, highly difficult. So like I say, I love British Columbia. It's my home province. I hope to go back there someday if it ever becomes affordable to do so. And if the politics becomes a little less insane. He's speaking now. Okay, I'm just going to check and make sure we're not missing anything here. No, I am not seeing anything else. I think I'm... Well, I'm seeing that the live event is now... He's speaking now. So we have totally missed this news conference this morning. My apologies. I was hoping to catch it, but we had a nice conversation nonetheless. And I don't know why Global didn't catch this at all this morning. Anyway, yeah, it was a nice conversation. Thank you for tuning in this morning. At least we had a chance to go over the clips that I did have. And I'm not sure why Global did not cover that news conference. And like I say, it's still not there. Yeah, I'm just going to read a few more of your comments before we tune out here. The NDP will be decimated in the next election. Imagine, if you will, we have another year to hate on them, and by then they will be lucky to have a couple of seats. Oh yeah, also any traitors to Canada shouldn't get a pension, so the next government should put it to a plebiscite by the people. So I am... Just hold on for a second here.
Economy rolling, keep making sure that families, workers, businesses are supported across the country. And that's where everyone came together and got this done. Tout d'abord, en ce qui concerne la dispute ferroviaire, je tiens à remercier toutes les parties pour leur travail acharné. Je pense que tous les Canadiens et Canadiennes comprennent à quel point il faut garder notre économie en santé, il faut livrer pour les travailleurs, pour les entreprises.
What I have of the interview, of the news conference. My apologies, we had some technical difficulties getting it live, but I'm going to put on what we have.
Les 2 derniers mois à rencontrer les Canadiens et Canadiennes d'un bord à l'autre du pays, et beaucoup m'ont fait part de leur situation et de celle de leur famille. J'ai écouté les attentes des Canadiens, les besoins. J'ai réfléchi à comment mon gouvernement et moi pouvons continuer de mieux soutenir les Canadiens. We worked hard throughout the summer, focused on getting the things we put into Budget 2024 done. That's what people across the country are counting on. They need support, they need help, they need investments, they need programs that are delivering for them in a way that responds to the challenges they're facing in their daily lives. So we unlocked tens of thousands of affordable housing units while streamlining the process to build more homes faster. We launched more affordable monthly mortgage payments. Pas plus tard que hier, nous avons annoncé les premiers terrains fédéraux qui seront loués et non vendus, idéalement, pour garantir la construction d'un plus grand nombre de logements abordables pour les Canadiens. Le régime des soins dentaires a déjà aidé plus d'1 demi-million de Canadiens auparavant non assurés à obtenir les soins dentaires qu'ils sont en droit de recevoir. We've been working hard on expanding $10 a day childcare across the country and getting a national school food program in place as soon as possible. Families are looking at back to school this week, and we need to make sure we're getting kids the best food possible as they're getting into that school year. But through negotiations over the summer, it's clear that some provinces are dragging their feet on these negotiations and throwing up roadblocks. You'd think we can all agree that Canadian families deserve affordable childcare and that every child should have good food available to them at school.
All right, we're back, folks. Hope you didn't leave because of my idiocy.
That would be wacko. Well, we're going to continue to step up and deliver for families.
You are wacko.
Good food in kids' bellies at school means they can concentrate, but also means that takes pressure off families' grocery bills. So
no, it doesn't.
Right around the corner. So my message to premiers is to work with us to get this done and done fast. Kids need it and families need it. 2 years ago, in the aftermath of the pandemic and facing severe labor shortages, we adjusted the program for temporary foreign workers. That's what the business community needed. That's what the business community was asking for. And at that moment in time, those changes helped. They helped the economy. They helped businesses make it through a challenging moment in our economic recovery. But today's economy is very different from it was 2 years ago. Inflation has started to come down, employment is higher, and we no longer need as many temporary foreign workers. We need Canadian businesses to invest in training and technology and not increasing their reliance on low-cost foreign labor. It's not fair to Canadians struggling to find a good job, and it's not fair to those temporary foreign workers, some of whom are being mistreated and exploited. So I asked my minister to work on this over the summer, and we are taking action. We are tightening the rules and restricting eligibility to reduce the number of low-wage temporary foreign workers in Canada, with exceptions in certain industries like healthcare, construction, and food security. We'll also be looking at changes to the high-wage stream of the program as part of the minister's expedited 90-day review. So to those who would complain about worker shortages, here's my message. There is no better time to hire and invest in Canadian workers. Nous allons réduire l'utilisation du programme pour faire rentrer des travailleurs.
And you know why so many temporary foreign workers are used by farmers? It's because Canadians don't want to put their hands in the dirt and pick vegetables or pick fruit from trees. That's why. I don't condone all of that program. But this is what this idiot doesn't get. And what a lot of even conservatives don't understand, why farmers have been doing this.
We saw inflation return to normal, and now interest rates are coming down. Our books are the envy of the developed world. Within the G7, Canada has the lowest deficit and the lowest net government debt.
Complete
fabrication. In terms of foreign investment, we are top 3 in the world and number 1 per capita in the G20 for foreign direct investment.
Another lie.
Companies around the world are taking an interest in investing in Canada to make things in Canada more than just about any other country. So today, we're taking yet another step to ensure that Canada is the country of choice to make the things that'll drive the new 21st century green economy. We're listening to automakers, we're listening to workers. Shortly, we will be introducing a 100% tariff on Chinese-made electric vehicles and a 25% tariff on Chinese steel and aluminum.
Sold that from Follies.
Des fabricants d'automobiles, nous sommes à l'écoute des travailleurs. Nous allons instaurer des droits de douane de 100%.
Now I see what the comment was about. Now I see what your comment was about. My apologies. Now they ripped that from the conservatives.
Because of our government's choices and the hard work of hundreds of thousands of Canadian auto workers, we are transforming Canada's automotive sector to be a global leader in building the vehicles of tomorrow. But actors like China have chosen to give themselves an unfair advantage in the global marketplace, compromising the security of our critical industries and displacing dedicated Canadian autos and metal workers. So we're taking action to address that. We actually spent some time talking about that and many other geopolitical issues last night with Jake Sullivan, the U.S. National Security Advisor.
Globalist.
Écoutez, en bout de ligne, notre choix sera toujours de construire et non de détruire. On va choisir des solutions et non des slogans. On va choisir l'action, non la colère.
I'm just so sick of hearing his voice.
Nous nous retroussons
in English or
faire tout ce
French.
qui est en notre pouvoir à chaque jour pour se battre pour vous, les Canadiens. Now I'm happy to take some questions before getting back in there and getting to work.
Oh, you're getting to work. You never worked in your life.
From CBC. Members of your caucus have been calling for major changes, including potentially a cabinet shuffle or that you show some contrition since the Toronto St. Paul's by-election loss. Why have no changes been made, and will any changes be made?
We spent the summer out there talking with Canadians, talking with caucus members, talking with the team about what Canadians are focused on, what Canadians really need. And Canadians need support.
BS.
Canadians need investments that are going to secure their jobs, their families. Canadians need investments that are going to deliver programs, whether it's school food, whether it's more places at $10 a day in childcare, whether it's protection of manufacturing jobs that we've been investing in over the years. That's what Canadians are focused on, and that's what we're delivering right now. Yes, there's, as you've seen, adjustments to certain programs. There's responsiveness to reality.
Answer the question.
The Canadian economy and help directly for Canadians, and we're going to stay focused on them.
Bonjour, Monsieur Trudeau, Fanny Olivier de Radio-Canada. Avec votre décision d'imposer un arbitre...
So they ask him if he's going to make any changes, and he talks about he spent the whole summer talking to Canadians. No, he spent the whole summer avoiding Canadians and avoiding the media so he wouldn't have to answer any questions. This guy is just so damned arrogant. Such a narcissist, always consumed with his own personality. And once again, my apologies for not getting this live this morning. Sometimes we get too many things on our plate at once, and I wasn't anticipating doing this, but thank you for those of you who stuck around. And as soon as he starts speaking English again, I'll put him back on. But thank you for being a part of this, even though we're not exactly live with this news conference.
C'est bon pour notre économie. En même temps, nous devions d'agir dans cette situation où on parlait de $1 milliard perdus par jour et des impacts qui vont durer encore des semaines sur l'économie canadienne. Nous allons toujours faire tout ce qu'on peut pour s'assurer qu'il y ait une solution à la table de négociation, mais nous allons aussi agir quand on en a besoin et dans cette situation, il fallait qu'on agisse. Pour le NPD, on va continuer de travailler avec eux pour livrer sur des enjeux qui vont aider les Canadiens d'un bout à l'autre de ce pays.
Good morning, Prime Minister Marika Walsh with the Globe and Mail. You say that you plan to stay on despite persistently bad polling, despite the by-election loss in Toronto that your party lost for the first time in 3 decades because you want to continue to deliver. Isn't that what Joe Biden insisted on?
Listen, we are focused on being there for Canadians. We're focused on stepping up on support and investments that are going to leave Canadians better off for the coming years.
Nonsense.
Decades. Canada has built one of the strongest economies in the G7, in the world right now, because we've been there to invest in the middle class and people working hard to join it. We've been delivering on programs that have made a real difference in Canadians' lives. And right now, as people are facing challenges, we are setting the best balance sheet in the G7 to work for Canadians with $10 a day childcare spaces that allow families to go back to work, that allow people confidence that their kids are going to be well supported on their way into years of schooling. School food programs, dental programs that make a real difference in the daily lives of Canadians. These are things that actually meet the needs of the challenges Canadians are facing right now.
Meet the needs of the challenges.
We're focused on delivering right now and into the coming years.
But sir, you just made the Joe Biden argument that his record justifies him staying. The electorate is saying they don't want you. They want change. Your polling personally is worse than your party.
Go.
I spent the summer talking with Canadians, and people's focus is on getting the support they need for their kids, for their future.
Totally delusional.
They want to see a strong future for Canadians. They want to see opportunities for their kids. That's what we're working on every single day to deliver. That's what I'm focused on. That's what I'm excited about. And that's why we're going to go into this next election putting a very clear choice for Canadians.
Oh, it's a clear choice.
We're still a year plus away from the election. I'm focused on making sure we're delivering through that election the kinds of things that Canadians need. That's what we're here for.
Bonjour, Monsieur Trudeau. Michel Sabat, La Presse Canadienne.
Well, I'm gonna leave it there. I'm going to leave it there because Trudeau lied constantly through that news conference in the questions from reporters. Canada is last, dead last in the G7 on economic categories. If you watched the episode of Stand on Guard last week, we illustrated exactly how low Canada is. Trudeau's lying. He knows he's lying, or he's living in complete delusion. This is absolutely evident from the facts. If you look at how bad the Canadian situation is economically, we are not leading the G7. The economy is not good. You can see from there. You can see exactly how bad the situation is. Trudeau is lying. He has been lying about this from day one. And here's the information we showed you the other day on the Stand on Guard. Standard of living is declining. Why does Trudeau never tell you this? Vis-a-vis the United States, our standard of living is declining rapidly and far below the United States, where they also have an economic catastrophe. Worst decline in 40 years. Did you hear that from Justin Trudeau? No, and you won't. Food bank usage in Toronto. It's going up like a popular YouTube video. That's the reality Justin Trudeau doesn't want to talk about. That's the reality he refuses to acknowledge. So thank you so much for watching today. We went a little overtime. My apologies for my incompetence and not getting that video live. Too many distractions, too much going on, but I'm trying to do my best for you to get the truth out there and to always give you the news that you need to know, to be a free Canadian who has the right to speak as a free Canadian and has the freedom of assembly to protest as well, because that's another thing we continue to fight for on this station. Now we see this announcement here. CBC News spoke to 6 MPs who say they want to see cabinet agree on several measures. A major cabinet shuffle, simplified public messaging, an effort to market the Liberals as a team, and more aggressive communications campaign contrasting the party with the Conservatives. Well, you can't do more to contrast this party from the Conservatives, because clearly this is a party that is in complete contrast to the Conservatives. This is the Liberal Party has become the party of censorship, has become the party of big pharma, has become the party of big tech, has become the party of totalitarianism, has become the party of enslavement, has become exactly what Robert F. Kennedy Jr. described the Democratic Party as becoming. That is the Liberal Party in Canada. Thank you so much for watching today. I'll be back again tomorrow with all the news.